I'm not ready to go yet, okay? I'm not ready. You gotta wait. I got shit to do. I'm in the middle of something, all right? Just hold on.
Watch your mouth or don't come in here.
Uh-oh. Uh-oh.
Oh, yeah, people, come on, we're adults here.
You know what? What is the point?
Yeah, we're adults here. I got a fucking Burger King fucking thing on my head. We're all fucking adults here, guys. People in my chat, 2 words. What are they? 2 words. Let me see the chat flood. Let me see the chat flood. 2 words. Okay, next caller. Please. Let's get into the meat and potatoes, which translate in American to dick and balls.
I got flip-flops. These are my flip-flops. Yeah, I really like my flip-flops because I can put them on. Because look, watch me put them on. I can put them on all by myself. Watch me put them on. Look, are you watching? Look, these are my flip-flops.
Thanksgiving Day. I remember it clearly. It was Thanksgiving Day. I was inserting myself in somebody else's fucking business as a cash grab, and you know. This channel is harsh reality.
Karen Yak se jodió la sucia vida. Amen.
This is Jonathan Lee Riches. I have cheeseburgers. I'm gonna put cheese on them. I'm gonna make sure that I have my hamburgers because I'm a big boy now and I can make the hamburgers. My mom lets me use the stove now.
And I'm just like, wow, I like receipts, and they brought receipts. Like they had evidence to back up everything they said. And I'm like, okay, well, there's got to be another side to this, right? Like this can't. No, this is too fantastic.
Yeah, because you're not going to just jump to the conclusion that there's a conspiracy amongst cops to cover up a murder. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, cops and just like soccer moms and shit. Like that's what made it even crazier. Like,
yeah, get it, Betty. Yeah,
did you have a close relationship with your mom?
Get it, Betty.
Oh, of course, I still do.
Yeah.
My older sister was kind of sad. She was more of the prissy girl that likes going.
That is the best shit fucking
shopping
ever.
for dresses with mommy. I was the tomboy that liked playing with the feet.
Shout out to Cherry for just being easily the most faithful and loyal supporter that I've ever had, man. That someone could have that tenacity with loyalty. And I'm really blessed to have someone like Cherry be part of this channel and in my life. So it means a lot. And yes, I named him after Mr. T and Rocky. Say, woman. Say, woman. Say, woman. Since your old man ain't got no heart, why don't you come down to my apartment, man? And I'll show you a real man. Oh my God, I'm so in love with this little dude. Yeah, I'm going to go ahead and wrap this one up. I love you guys very, 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 very much. And we will do this again very soon, my friends. Oh, say bye. Say bye. Oh, I love you too. Give me a kiss. Oh, I love you. Bye, guys. folks. Happy Sunday. Happy Labor Day Eve. Oh, my goodness. It's good to see you guys. I broke a promise. I said the night before last night when I did that very long live stream that within 24 hours I'd be going live again. I just didn't feel like it yesterday, so I didn't. But I'm glad to be here with you guys tonight. No place I'd rather be right now. And I'm really grateful for you guys. So thanks for being here. And we're just gonna hang out tonight, man. Seriously, like we're gonna go over a couple of things. And then I'm gonna open the phone lines and then I'm gonna take some calls. I don't imagine this would be a very long live stream. I'm gonna be honest with you guys. My brain is mush right now. I spent a lot of hours at the gym today, and then I showered and took care of Clubber and everything. And now I am overwhelmingly relaxed at the moment. So this I am running on merely the desire to hang out with you guys right now. Yeah, I went to the gym today, and today's the first, so I want to use today as a a marker day. Patty the paralegal gifted a membership. Congrats to Linda Mitchell. Right on. Thank you so much. And I mean, oh my God.
I think we got a super dad. Super dad. I think we got a super dad. Super dad. Super dad. Super dad. Dad, 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 dad. I think we got a super dad. I think we got a super dad. I think we got a super dad.
Thank you. I'm just a girl in the world. So I figured, okay, I have this problem where, like, I want to cut fat, I want to get down to a really low body fat percentage, right? I just lack the discipline, of being able to eat right. You know what I mean? Consistently. I get the exercise. I get that part just fine, but I don't execute the diet very well at all. But I'm really happy because today is September 1st. Perfect day to begin and start. After the gym, I went to the grocery store, and in lieu of my of today being the very first day of the month, in lieu of that, I bought some low fat or some light sour cream and some guacamole, and I'm gonna make some like healthy fajitas with the zero carb tortillas, and I got a big ass thing of chocolate chunk cookies that I completely and totally regret buying. And not only did I get the chocolate chunk cookies, people, because this is what happens. This is what happens when you walk into the gym or walk into the grocery store, still baked as shit after working out. On top of that, with every intention of buying healthy food, with every intention of buying nothing but healthy food, the chocolate chunk cookies were speaking to me. Okay, you can't judge me. All right, they were like right there, and they're like made by like the in-store grocery, like the bakery, right? Listen, people, you can taste, like, these things melt in your mouth, dude. You can taste the butter in these things. These aren't like Chips Ahoy bullshit. You know what I mean? These are like true bakery, right? And so I was like, you know what? And as I'm walking out, I got these in my hand. Lo and behold, I also see some chocolate chip cookies made in the bakery as well, just not the same kind, but chocolate chip cookies, sandwiches that have cupcake icing in between the two chocolate chip cookies, and a whole row of them, and all of the icings were like red, white, and blue, and it's just really pretty. I guess it was just for the whole Labor Day thing. And I said, fuck it, because I had already had the chocolate chunk cookies in my hand. So I got those too. And so basically these things, these chocolate chunk cookies, besides being fucking delicious, basically they're sugar sandwiches. They're sugar sandwiches. That's what they are. They're sugar sandwiches. So basically, they made this icing, which is just sugar. That's what icing is. Sugar and dye. And there's the red ones, there's the blue ones, there's the white ones. Really, really pretty. I'm patriotic. What am I supposed to do? So I bought them, and as soon as I walk outside, it's raining, and I take one of the blue ones and I stuff it in my face, and it's falling apart in my hands. People are walking in to the grocery store. They're just looking at me because the dye in the icing stains your skin. Little did I know. So I'm walking around, with blue lips and fingers. Right. So but listen, I'm happy because today is the last day, because September 2nd, there's no better day to start with. There's no better day. September 1st sounds better. September 2nd, way better. It's a round number. You know what I mean? It's an even number. It's better. It's better. Okay. So September 2nd, the diet begins. Okay. Sugar-free creamer. Just saying. And all of you that are judging me right now can kiss my Dominican dick. So anyway, let's check in with I have a brand new correspondent on the show, folks. MC Frost. Let's check in with him real quick. MC Frost, how we doing, buddy?
Good morning.
Good morning, MC Frost. We good? I wonder if he can hear me. He's just pretending that he can't hear me. MC Frost.
Sleep stream. Dan NOG. What up?
What up?
I haven't really been feeling the greatest. I don't know. I would say I don't really feel the greatest right now.
Tell me all about it.
I'm just kind of fucking. Here, wait, Tupac or
Right.
like this for yo.
So MC Frost, Karen Reed, innocent or guilty? What do you think, buddy? MC Frost, my man. Okay, we're gonna have to check in with MC Frost later. Thank you, buddy. MC Frost, everybody. MC Frost. Okay.
I think we got a super dad. Super dad. I think we got a super dad. Super dad. Super dad. Super dad. 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 I think we got a super dad. I think we got a super dad.
The diet is the hardest for everyone. One tip: avoid grocery shopping after the gym when you're hungry or stoned, or stoned. No judgment. Love you. Right. Exactly. All right. All right. Check back in with you later, buddy. All right. All right. All right. Let's check this out. New video here. I know I said, where's Vinny? Vinny's just on vacation, I think. Whatever. I like I said, I just wanted to hang out with you guys tonight, so I just threw together a thumbnail.
Welcome to Vinny Politan Investigates. I'm Julia Janae, filling in for Vinny tonight. Our investigation is focused on...
You're not Vinny Politan.
On a woman named Karen Reed. Her trial is in Dedham, Massachusetts, and it's divided the community there and people across the country. Here's her story. Karen Reed was a college professor dating a Boston police officer named John O'Keefe. Outside of her family, friends, and students, no one really knew much about her. But that anonymity changed one snowy night in Canton, Massachusetts, after she and John went bar hopping downtown. Karen drove them to the home of another Boston police officer. He had invited a bunch of folks over his house for a little after-hours party before the blizzard was supposed to roll through town. John O'Keefe died that night, and everyone agrees it was a homicide. But the question is, who is responsible? And the answer depends upon who you ask. The prosecution says John never made it inside that home because Karen purposely backed over him and left him lying in the cold in the front yard to die. Karen says John went inside to the party and she went back to John's house. She also believes it was someone from inside that house who killed John and put him in the yard to frame her. After more than 9 weeks, more than 70 witnesses, and nearly 5 days of deliberations, the jury could not reach a unanimous verdict and a mistrial was declared. Karen Reed will have to do it all again, but what will a new jury make of the evidence at trial number 2?
Yeah, I haven't.
And here's what the prosecution...
I haven't watched this yet.
Says Karen Reed drove herself and her boyfriend, John O'Keefe, over to the Alberts house that night. And when John got out of the SUV, she purposely backed into him and left him at the scene. But around the same time that Karen and John arrived at the Alberts house, Ryan Nagel and 2 friends were pulling up in a pickup truck. And Ryan's sister was at that party. She needed a ride home. Now, according to Ryan Nagel's testimony, the pickup truck was behind Karen's vehicle the entire time it was in front of the house.
Hold on a second. Hold on. Just a second here. Just a second.
Yesterday's stream was to explain how people I feel like I'm doing well.
Yeah, I was just gonna ask how you're doing, buddy.
People on stream, like comments and chats, seem to think that I'm doing well. And I think that's largely based on my income, but that's like not
MC Frost, everybody.
The house or being struck by Karen's vehicle.
As far as the black SUV in front of you, what, if anything, did you observe about movement of that vehicle? And
I noticed that the brake lights, the only reason I noticed is because the brake.
Listen, when you have a solid correspondent like that, that's lightning in a bottle. You got to drop in on them once in a while, check in, it's lightning in a bottle. Okay. Not letting that go.
Lights were on and it moved, moved up maybe another car length in front of us.
After you turned from Cedar Crest on the Fairview, that vehicle was in front of you the entire time?
Oh, yes, sir. Yes.
As far as around the vehicle, at any point in time, did you observe anybody exit the vehicle or be outside of the vehicle or anything like that?
No, sir. No, I did not.
And did you see anybody go from the vehicle to the house?
No, sir.
What, if anything, did Ricky do with the truck?
He pulled out to go around the SUV in front of us and then to go home. I observed that there was a person inside the car with the interior light on.
And that would be sort of a dome light, is that right?
Correct, sir. Yes.
Can you see where the dome light was, as far as in the left, right, or center of the vehicle?
I was in the center.
This guy turned out to be a total douche, but at least he was honest here. And I remember his statement, his testimony is consistent with his statement. And pre-trial, months before the trial started, that was the first thing that I caught. That was the first thing that really got me when I was going over these documents during pre-trial. I was like, wait a minute, this guy Ryan Nagel, I mean, he's saying John O'Keefe wasn't in the car. He wasn't in the SUV. The dome light was on. The car had no damage to the back. I mean, if he had to have been lying in the snow, and if he was lying in the snow, well, then the tail light would have been broken. And if the tail light's not broken, well, then that means that he went inside the house. There's no other place he could have been. So this dude at least was honest.
And can you describe the person that you saw? Where were they? First of all, where were they in the car?
They're in the driver's seat.
And can you describe what the person looked like?
It was a woman.
And how do you know that it was a woman?
Had long hair. Seemed like she was looking straight ahead with her hands at 10 and 2 on the steering wheel.
You didn't see a person standing or lying on the ground anywhere around that SUV, did you?
No.
But you did look inside that SUV.
As I passed by, yes.
And you saw one person.
That's all I saw at the time, yes.
Female with long hair, is that
Correct.
right? And you did not see anybody else inside that SUV?
No, not to my acknowledgement.
Right.
So what we're digging into is if Ryan Nagel had a clear view of Karen's SUV from the time it pulled up to the house and didn't see anyone get out of the vehicle, how could Karen Read be alone in the vehicle when Ryan Nagel and his friends left? So that brings us to our first big question of the night. Did Karen hit Officer John O'Keefe with?
She couldn't have. And I like that she's asking this question. I love it's amazing that it took 2 years. Sorry, but I hate to be that guy. Maybe it's because it's not Vinnie Politan, but I hate to be that guy. But I mean, finally somebody on Court TV is asking a valid question, but they're still not getting that question right. Because the question is, if Ryan Nagel saw Karen Read alone in the vehicle, didn't see anybody outside of the vehicle, and she's failing to mention the fact that he also reported that there was no visible damage to the rear of the SUV, and all of the lights were luminous on the SUV. All the rear lights. So you would have seen this. If this light was shattered, the way that Proctor is trying to tell, and Proctor and Tully and Lally are all saying that this light is shattered. Well, how would Ryan Nagel not see that? So if John O'Keefe is not inside the vehicle, then he would be laying out in the yard. Maybe Ryan Nagel cannot see John O'Keefe laying in the yard because the SUV is blocking his vision. But if that is the case, then why is there no damage to the back of the vehicle? And that means that John O'Keefe, Boston police officer John O'Keefe, had to have been inside that house at 34 Fairview.
With her car. So we want to bring in our guests. We have two people who can tell you both sides of the arguments in this case. Karen Read supporter and creator of the Justice for Officer John O'Keefe and Karen Read Facebook page, Nick Rocco, is with us. We also have the creator behind Yellow Cottage Tales YouTube channel, Kevin Lenahan, is with us as well. Great to have you both on to talk about.
I had a thought, and then I was like, probably better not to. Poor Plevin.
This case. Nick, let me start with you. What does this witness testimony tell you about whether or not Karen Reed hit John O'Keefe with her vehicle?
So I think Ryan Nagel stating the fact that Karen Reed was alone in her car when they drove by, putting John O'Keefe not on the lawn, not inside the car. There was only one place that he was headed, and that was 34 Fairview Road. So when he got out of Karen's vehicle, he didn't go for a jog or a run down the street. He went inside the house. Now, Ryan Nagel is, he's from Canton. He knows all those players. So for him to get on the stand and put John not in that vehicle, I'm not sure where else he could have been, because he wasn't on the lawn. Karen didn't back up at that point, like they're saying. So where else could he be? I mean, it's at this point, I think that question, if he's not there.
Yeah, Nick is also forgetting the lack of damage to the rear of the vehicle.
There's only one other place he could be, and it's inside the house.
Which is what Karen Reed's defense has argued in this case. Kevin Linehan, how do you see this testimony from Ryan Nagel?
Well, it's hard to focus on. I think it's a mistake to focus on things that we don't see or that someone doesn't.
Dude, the dick mic? Dude, that thing straight up looks like a sex toy. That looks like a sex toy, Kevin. That looks like a sex toy, Kevin. That is, I mean, that is the wildest shit I've ever seen. And your mouth isn't even that close to it. And it's still, I mean, the ladies in the chat right now, just hearing you talk into that sex toy is doing what the sex toy does. Like, the ladies in the chat are feeling the effects of the sex toy because of you talking into it, bro. Like, Jesus Christ.
Doesn't see. You can only focus on things they do see. It's hard to explain why someone doesn't see something.
Like,
so one thing they can't.
You guys ever see Howard Stern Private Parts? That's totally what's happening right now. You poor ladies, or maybe not. Congratulations, ladies.
Came out in trial was that the plow driver, Lucky Loughran, plowed the street at 5:30.
Plevin's a stud.
That's only a half hour before John was found.
Oh my God.
And he, despite plowing the street and all the lights that he had up there, didn't see John there either. So, I mean, what Ryan Nagel was doing when he pulled up, he's looking at his phone, he's talking to his girlfriend in the back seat. We don't know exactly what he's doing, but he's not paying attention to this lawn, and there's no street light there at the end of the property, so it's very, very dark. We do know that
What the fuck do you want me to do, dude? He's talking into a sex toy on Court TV, dude. That's not my fault. That is not my fault. Jesus, you all were thinking it. You know you were thinking it.
That what he did see was that the interior light was on, so John was probably in some process of getting out or having just got out. And just, it's important to keep in mind that the GPS, which could not be challenged by the defense, because there's no way to challenge that kind of data, shows that John did not go inside the house. He was never even seen, according to that GPS, heading in the direction of the house.
Bro.
He was found at the edge of the last GPS points are at the end of the property, at the far edge, where Karen left him off, and that's where he was found. So unless John dropped his phone there and went inside the house, the more likely thing is that people just didn't see him.
Nick, what do you think is the strongest evidence?
Dude, Plevin, it's just blows my mind, bro. Every time I hear fucking Plevin talk, dude, like, I'm just explosion. Every time, like, it's crazy because, dude, you sat there on Court TV just now and told the world that I guess nobody saw him. Nobody saw him because he wasn't there yet. That's why nobody saw him. Okay, still in the basement. That's why nobody saw him. But if he was there, it would have been impossible to not see him. It would have been impossible. I saw the lawn myself. I know you've seen it. I saw it. I'm telling you, there is no fucking way. I don't care that it was snowing, that you would not have seen, especially if Julie Nagel says that she saw a black blob. Now, come on. Everyone's walking out the fucking door in the front, and there's no way you're not going to pass that and see it. Like, there's no way. It's right there. It's so close to, like, that yard is small. There's no way you're not going to see someone laying there.
That John O'Keefe was actually inside of the house.
Did you see all of the people that they were showing that were inside that house? Like, it was an insane amount of people. And you're going to tell me not one person saw. Oh, I can't even pinpoint it now. I can't find it. Fuck it.
So during Brian Higgins' testimony, he actually places a tall male with dark hair inside the house, never named them. He knew who they all were, so it wouldn't have been a surprise if, for example, if it was Colin or Brian Albert Jr., he would know who they were. Yes, he did know John, but I think he specifically didn't name John O'Keefe, because if he puts John in the house, he's kind of turning on the whole everybody inside the house. He didn't go in. If he doesn't put John in the house, now he's lying to the feds, and he knows the penalty of that. But other than that, you have the Waze data with the timing being off. His phone shows John going up the 3 flights of stairs. So as far as him being inside the house, he wasn't on the lawn. Nobody saw him out there. And I know Kevin says it's not what people don't see, but it's very hard to miss, especially when Brian Higgins, supposedly is parked out front. He turns his car lights on. You're not going to miss John O'Keefe on that lawn when there's
You're not going to miss John O'Keefe on that lawn. Dude, I'm telling you. And it was luminous. There were lights. There was a porch light. There was a street light. I'm telling you that it would have been impossible to not see John O'Keefe laying in that lawn. I'm telling you this with the utmost certainty because I saw the lawn myself. I'll say 99.9%. Okay. The other 0.1% is that I actually didn't see what someone laying in the lawn would look like in that lawn. But I saw the lawn and I could visualize the size of a fucking 6-foot man, a 6'2" man. I could visualize it. You know what I mean?
And there's an inch, not even an inch of snow at that point. You just physically could not see it. Even if you weren't looking for him, you still would see something there.
Right.
We're going to take a look at that more next.
Exactly.
We are. And I know that Kevin has something he wants to show us in that regard, but let me focus back to the snowy night, the snow plow. Do you think the conditions, Kevin, if you're the prosecution, had anything to do?
You know how fucking dope it would be if just one of these motherfuckers just slipped and said Plevin instead of Kevin? Wouldn't that just be glorious? Just once, just like the same as the fucking Bukkake slip from Julie Albert. Just the same as that. Just one time, just somebody go, Plevin, what do you think of?
With the lack of people being able to see, because this was a blizzard everyone was waiting for, but there seemed to be conflicting accounts about whether the blizzard had started, whether it was heavy, whether it was just flurries.
I don't think it was snowing very hard at the time when the guests were leaving the house or when the pickup truck with Ryan Nagel in it was driving by. What I think is if you go out and get in your car now and drive to the supermarket or whatever, a couple blocks away and come home, there's going to be 10,000 objects inside yards that are dark and unmoving, and your mind is not going to pay attention to them. That's just the way it's peripheral vision. And unless something signals your conscious
bro, Plevin, my man, homie, I gotta play that one more time because I can't believe my fucking
card now and drive to the supermarket or whatever, a couple blocks away and come home. There's going to be 10,000 objects inside yards that are dark and unmoving.
Like maybe in Appalachia, bro. Like, what the fuck are you talking about? That there's gonna be 10,000 objects. Like, dude, what kind of dump does your front yard look like, guy? What? What? 10,000 things in your yard. This is fucking great. This is amazing. And you're just not going to notice them. You're not going to notice. Of course. Listen, dude, if you have 10,000 fucking pieces of goddamn fucking debris in your front yard, then yeah, you're not going to notice them. That's why you have 10,000 pieces, because you're a fucking slob. That's why. Because you're a fucking slob who has 10,000 pieces of fucking God knows what in your yard. That's why you don't notice it. But most people, like the Alberts who seem to take pride in their front yard. Sorry, you're going to notice that well-kept yard, a dude laying in it. You're going to notice it. The fuck is this guy talking 10,000 things?
Moving, and your mind is not going to pay attention to them. That's just the way it's peripheral vision. And unless something signals your conscious mind, to flags it and says,
dude, you come out of that house, man, and it's like, here's your direct vision, bro. Okay. And John's body would have been right here, dude. Like right here. That's it. Like boom. You know what I mean? You sound like a fucking moron, guy. You sound so dumb right now. Oh, it's in your peripherals. You're not going to notice. Of course you're going to notice it, dude. And you know how many people rolled out of that house? Get the fuck out of my face.
Says, here's something interesting here. You're not going to make any note of it. So if John had been moving, then would have been more likely for people to notice him. But otherwise, he's just a dark, unmoving object that the conscious mind isn't really going to pick up as they're driving.
Yeah, I mean, I just thought it was just another black blob in somebody's yard. I have no idea. I mean, what did I see anything? No. Well, I saw what looked like a black blob over by the flagpole. Oh. Yeah, like any other front yard black blob that you see all the time in everybody's yard. A front yard black blob. Yeah. What? Plevin. No, dude. Like, you're going to see a dude laying there. You're going to notice it's a dude. You know what I mean?
Driving by.
We have so much more to talk about in this case that still has lingering questions. Our guests are going to stay with us. Coming up next, there were a lot of people going in and out of that house. Why didn't anyone see John O'Keefe on the lawn?
Right.
You got in that SUV.
How long does it take? Jesus Christ, it takes this long for Court TV to start asking the right questions?
TV of yours, you didn't see anything out of the ordinary outside, correct?
I wasn't looking outside.
Okay. I know that is the answer that you want to give to every question. My question is yes or no. Did you see anything out of the ordinary?
No.
In the world of true crime.
Hold on, I gotta get past that. MC, what up, buddy?
Like, there are times in, like, let's say the last year or the last 4 years where I feel like I was doing well from how I felt about, like, but I had way less. I had way less like money. That's it.
Oh, so it's a money thing.
Like even in the last month, it feels like I was doing well with like the parental reintegration. But then I kind of acted.
I was going to ask you about that
this week and the interaction with the baby mama, which kind of like fucked. I don't know how exactly how it fucked it up, but it feels like it's similar to how I've acted in the past, and it's gonna fuck it up.
Right. I got you. I'll get back to you. Okay, buddy.
But that
hang in there.
situation does
Okay.
carry red
Yeah.
flags
Listen,
for
I gotta go. Okay. MC Frost, everybody.
When you went over to the storm door and looked out, what if anything you saw?
I saw a vehicle.
Can you describe the vehicle that you saw?
I saw a dark SUV.
I noticed the big SUV parked in front of the house.
So when I noticed, looking out the window, I did notice the SUV in front of the mailbox, and then pulled up a little bit in front of the yard, and then stopped, and then pulled up again towards the flagpole.
There were multiple party guests who were inside of the out.
It's fun. So that's fun stuff. Julie Nagel, literally, that's another person who saw Karen Reed's SUV do literally everything except for the crime in question. She saw Karen Reed's SUV do literally everything except what she's being accused of and what she's testifying about. Amazing. That's amazing. Like every single thing that it did surrounding allegedly hitting Boston police officer John O'Keefe, but no hitting Boston police officer John O'Keefe. Just literally everything else that the SUV did. Cool.
Albert home at this party, looking out the window, they reported seeing Karen Reed's SUV pull up in front of that house that night. Prosecutors say that it's within minutes of that arrival that John O'Keefe exited the car and was struck by Karen's vehicle traveling in the reverse. And if that's the way it happened, John O'Keefe would have been lying outside in the front lawn when that party was over and the guests.
Now, real quick, I'm just sorry, my ADHD, you know how it is. I thought of something I don't want to forget. Tomorrow there's going to be a big standout, a national standout. Okay. Excuse me. There's going to be a national standout, worldwide standout, kind of. They're trying to, I don't know what, I'm probably going to go live and cover it to some degree. I just don't know how they want me to do it. Paul Cristoforo reached out to me. I said, well, wouldn't Tom and Mike's channel probably be better for that? But I mean, I think that they have something else in mind for my channel. But I'm going to try to help out in any way that I can. So tomorrow that standout is happening everywhere. So take a look at Mazza Media's live stream. I don't know if he's still live, but he was live before I went live. And make sure to get the details on that. See if there's one locally near you where you'd like to join. So, but I just wanted to get that out there before I forgot. So.
Guests found their way out of the house and to their own cars.
At no time did you hear any noise or sound outside that was unusual?
No.
You didn't hear any squealing of tires or squealing of brakes?
No.
You didn't hear any screaming or yelling?
No.
You didn't hear any loud voices or foul language or doors slam?
No.
You didn't hear any verbal argument or revving?
She's a sweetheart, isn't she? She just doesn't she just look like a sweet, wonderful, just full of light.
An engine, anything like that?
No.
Matter of fact, you didn't hear any collision or crash, did you?
No.
You left the location.
Yeah, they're like, no.
About 1:45. Is that right?
Yes.
You didn't see anything out of the ordinary as you got in. Was it your car or Mr. McCabe's car?
It was my car.
When you got in that SUV of yours, you didn't see anything out of the ordinary outside, correct?
I wasn't looking outside.
Okay. I know that that is the answer that you want to give to every question. My question is yes or no. Did you see anything?
But she was looking outside at one point.
No.
After didn't she testify to the grand jury or in one of the statements say that she was looking outside?
Being at the Albert
I get
home
it
for a
wrong.
period of time early that morning, you left the home approximately 1:40 a.m. or so,
Yeah, give or take 140, 145. I don't know the exact time.
and you walked out with your wife, Jennifer McCabe, and two of Brian Jr.'s friends, correct?
Yes, Brian's two friends were joining Jennifer and I. We were driving them home.
And when you
vodka water and a splash of Crystal Light.
first came out of the house facing that front lawn, you didn't see a black baseball cap, correct?
That's correct.
Or a black sneaker, correct?
That's correct.
Or 45 pieces of red plastic taillight, correct?
That's correct.
Or even one, correct?
That's correct.
And once again, you didn't see a 6'2" man lying on the front lawn, correct?
No, I wish I did, but I didn't.
Coming out the front door of your house, you would agree with me that your parents' front lawn is directly in front of
That shit's killing me, dude.
I wish I did, but I didn't.
Like, that is like, this guy is just like booming with tells that he's lying. You don't have to be a body language expert. You know what I mean? Like, this dude, like, all you have to do is just have some level of street smarts, you know, to realize that this dude is fucking lying. Relax, dude.
in front of you, correct?
Yes.
By that time, snow had started to accumulate at 1:45 a.m., correct?
Yes.
Against that white snow, did you see a black baseball cap?
I did not.
As you stepped out of the house, did you see a black sneaker?
I did not.
Did you see 45 pieces of red taillight plastic?
I did not.
No. Did you see one piece of red taillight plastic?
Because it wasn't there.
I did not.
Did you see a 6'2" man on your parents' front lawn in front of you?
Objection.
Did you?
The SUV hadn't gotten to the Sally Port yet.
I did not.
Some of the most important evidence in a case is eyewitness testimony. We don't have that here. But the next best thing to an eyewitness testimony is a before and after witness. And that's what these are. But that brings us to our next question. Why didn't anyone see John O'Keefe on the lawn?
Right.
Still with us, Nick Rocco and Kevin Lenahan. Nick, I messed up a little bit earlier. You're the one that has something that you want to show us having to do with people going in and out of the house, in particular, someone else who took the stand.
Plevin's like, yeah, I'm already showing my nipples. So, yeah, it wasn't me. I'm already showing you everything that I wanted to show you.
Yeah, so Brian Higgins, the Commonwealth is trying very hard to place his vehicle in between Ryan Nagel's vehicle and Karen Reed's vehicle. Now, let's just say that his vehicle was there. And this video almost goes to anybody that would drive down that street. And what it is, it's a recreation from Microdots, and it's Brian Higgins' vehicle parked right outside the mailbox. He turns his lights on, he's getting ready to drive away. And what do you see? His lights are right on the flagpole, and John being so close to the street, there's almost no way to miss it. Whether you're looking for it or not, when there's about an inch of snow on the ground, everything is white except a 6-foot body. You just can't miss it. So the only person that
I wish they'd play Plevin's. I wish they play Plevin's like next to Microdots. Like that just would be so wonderful.
Stated they saw something was Julie Nagel, and she placed a black blob on the lawn. Now, it wasn't like the next day when they found John O'Keefe's body, she was like, oh my God, that's what I saw on the lawn last night. That's what I remember. No, it took her 8 months to get interviewed by Michael Proctor to finally say, you know, I saw something on the lawn, a black object. And then a year later during court, she remembered it was 5 to 6 feet long. Nobody saw John O'Keefe on the lawn because he was not out there when Karen Reed had left to go back to John's because she didn't back into him. He was inside the house. And then later on that night, early morning, somebody had placed him outside. I mean, if he wasn't there and nobody saw him, where could he have?
His Apple Health data even states that he was inside the house. But, you know, of course, that's flawed.
Ben.
He went up and down a hill.
And we're going to get to more of what Julie said, because that is an important thing to look back at. But Kevin, first, I want to get your reaction to the question. Why didn't anyone see John O'Keefe on the lawn? They were going out, not just one person, multiple people going back to their cars, and no one seeing a body, a shoe, a hat.
Well, I can react a little bit to that video first. It's obviously fictional, and I don't think most people park in a yard would expect that their lights to illuminate the yard if you're parked on the street. And we don't know exactly what direction it is, but
Plevin just said that shit on Court TV, bro. Court TV, man. Like, listen, I like that you're asking all the right questions. You know, I love it. Finally, I'll take it. You know what I mean? It's good news. It's great that you're asking all the right questions. But the problem is that you got Plevin up there. Like, I can't take you seriously when you got Plevin up there. How am I supposed to take you seriously when you got Plevin up there? Like, are you hearing that shit? Like, he just told the world. He fucking told the world that there's no way that Brian Higgins' truck is going to illuminate the front yard where John O'Keefe was laying, would have been laying from the street. Not to mention the fact that there's a street light. Not to mention the fact that there's a porch light. I mean, dude, Plevin, that's the route you went to argue that is that you just had to take a cheap shot at Microdots' video, which you're just wrong about. Like, dude. I mean, sorry, I was looking at chat. You guys are funny as fuck.
The lights are designed to illuminate the road in front of you. And we also know from Brian Higgins' testimony that when he began to drive off, his plow was in too low of a position. And as he drove,
Bro, listen, okay? The good people at Jeep, okay? The good people at Jeep don't make headlights for people wearing blinders, bro. Plevin, okay? Because they understand the fact that you need peripherals in order to drive effectively. To drive safely and effectively, you need your peripherals. Therefore, the lights are going to be designed to illuminate the peripherals to some degree. The peripherals being, in this case, the front yard, right by the flagpole. Plevin.
if he had to adjust it. So he was probably, his eye was looking down at something else. But again, we're trying to focus on what people didn't see, a dark, unmoving object, when what we have in terms of the correlation of the vehicle data, which was not challenged by the defense, and the data on John's phone perfectly shows, just like a video or a picture, that there's no way that Karen didn't do this. So Karen they were following Waze to get to 34 Fairview. She missed the turn onto Fairview. That's recorded by Waze. A little bit after that, she does a 3-point turn, like say 10, 15 seconds after that. Unmoving object, when what we have in terms of the correlation of the vehicle data, which was not challenged by the defense, and the data on John's phone perfectly shows, just like a video or a picture, that there's no way that Karen didn't do this. So Karen they were following Waze to get to 34 Fairview. She missed the turn onto Fairview. That's recorded by Waze. A little bit after that, she does a 3-point turn, like say 10, 15 seconds after that, to adjust. And you can see that in the vehicle data. Then she finally takes the turn onto Fairview, which is recorded in Waze. 8 minutes and 4 seconds after that 3-point turn that she did on Cedar Crest before that, 8 minutes and 4 seconds after that puts it at 12:32 and say 9.
The problem, all of this shit was analyzed and captured by Trooper fucking, what the fuck is his name? I already forgot the dummy's name. Is it Trooper Paul? I mean, dude, none of this shit matters. None of it matters. None of it matters.
9 seconds. And the health app on John's phone shows that he stopped moving for the last time until 6 o'clock in the morning when somebody picked up his phone. He stopped moving at 12:32 and 16 seconds. The correlation is bulletproof. You can't punch a hole in it. It's better than a picture. There's no way around it. You just have to present this to a jury properly.
And this is why it was so difficult for a jury, because two sides arguing the same thing about the evidence. And we're talking more about this one person who said she saw something.
Levin's out here ripping them on court TV. Jesus, man.
Matthew and Jennifer McCabe, they agreed to take Sarah Levinson and Julie Nagel home after the party. And Julie took the stand to testify that she did see something unusual on the lawn. Let's take a listen.
Jesus, Plevin.
I did notice behind Sarah and Jen, I did notice something out of the ordinary, like a black blob in the grounds by the flagpole.
She sounded like she rehearsed that shit. Look, watch her when she says black blob. Watch her head.
Jen, I did notice something out of the ordinary, like a black blob in the grounds by the flag.
Something out of the ordinary, like a black blob. Looked like she was trying to remember what she was supposed to say there.
So Nick just talked about this. Julie Nagel also testified that after she saw the black blob on the lawn, that she mentioned it to the others in the car, but no one else in the car remembered her making that statement. But Nick, I want to bring up something that Kevin said. The snowplow.
But she didn't make the statement.
Or didn't see.
Because Lally is, let me tell you something. Lally is the worst at prepping witnesses. You know how I know? Because I watched the witnesses that he called up and I could tell that they were prepped and prepped horribly. I could tell. You could tell too. That's how I know. I don't even have to be in the room when he's prepping a witness. All I need to do is watch the witness. Lally is the worst at prepping his witnesses.
See anything out in that area in the lawn as well. So is it possible that he didn't see it? She could have seen something even if he didn't.
Well, Julie Nagel's testimony, I think at this point, being interviewed 8 months later by Michael Proctor, I don't think she has much credibility just for the fact that her story got, I don't want to say better, but it evolved to fit the prosecution from the first time she interviewed to the last time she interviewed. It just got more detailed. So, like I said, if she saw something on the lawn after they were done talking about the peanut butter and jelly sandwiches in the car, I think the next day when John was found, the first thing anybody would have been like is like, that's what I saw on the lawn. They would have went right down to the police department and it could have been, here's the first eyewitness. But instead, it took way too long for that to come out 8 months later, 2 years later during the trial. So I don't think what she's saying is credible. I think they needed to have at least one person see something, because how do you just not have 13, 14, and whoever else drove down the lawn, down the road that early morning, aside from the plow driver and the person who parked the Ford Edge exactly where John's body was? Nobody saw the body to call 911. It's almost impossible.
Kevin, real quick before we have to go to a break, we talked about the conditions. You said it wouldn't have been that bad at 12:30, but now we're talking about an hour later. Do you think that had anything to do with it, or the festivities that were going on inside of this party where alcohol was present?
I just think your peripheral vision doesn't pick up stuff like that. And let's also just apply some quick logic here. So let's say that defense theory is true, that the 4 people in the car knew that John was lying there, dead or dying. I'm sorry, the defense theory is they put him out later, right? So,
like, when you say stupid things like, I don't think your peripheral vision picks up things and works like that. Yeah, it does. When you say things like that, what it sounds like, besides sounding really stupid, it sounds like you're, especially when you try to make yourself sound smart, it sounds like you're someone who is saying idiotic things in order to just have an argument. Not even because you believe them. You sound like someone who is willfully ignorant. My definition of retarded, someone who is absolutely willfully ignorant, because what you're doing is you're capable, you're showing that you're capable of intelligence, and then you completely and totally ignore logic when you say something just for the sake, and it sounds like you're doing it just for the sake of spite, just to have an argument. It's ridiculous. You sound ridiculous when you say things like your peripherals don't pick up things like that. What do you mean? Of course they do. That's what peripherals are for. That's why God blessed you with them. What do you mean? You're not going to see a dark object in a sea of white in a much smaller yard than it looks in pictures? Because I saw it myself. I'm telling you, like, there's no way.
So I just, I apologize. The theory is they put him out later, and I just don't think, I think he was there and people didn't see him. I mean, that's the most sensible thing.
Kevin,
when you look at the rest
thank you
of the
so much for your
evidence.
comments, Nick. As
He said it all right there. He was there and nobody saw him. That's the most sensible thing. He's right. That is the most sensible thing. But the problem with that being the most sensible thing is that it doesn't make sense. That is the most sensible thing. And that does not make sense. It's ridiculous. It's completely and totally fucking ridiculous to think that nobody who attended that party saw John O'Keefe laying in that lawn when they walked out if Karen had hit him with her SUV. It's impossible. It's impossible, especially with what Nick Rocco explained with Brian Higgins' Jeep illuminating the street.
as well. Thanks for being with us. We do have to get to our break. I'm Julie Janae. In for Vinnie Paladin. We'll keep digging for answers as the investigation continues.
But it's fucking, that's rough too, man.
Yeah, it is rough, man. Tell me, what else, buddy?
It carries its own fucking like emotional baggage.
I mean, it does.
Hard to deal with.
And I mean, there's a lot of emotional baggage.
I have to let go of the fucking.
Right. Just let it go, man.
I have to let go of the fucking.
Just let it go.
Original problems. Just let it
right. Because problems are going to come, bro. You know, problems are going to come. So you just got to let go of the original ones. Be ready for the new ones. The question is how you manage it. Just got to manage it, buddy. What else is new, bro?
Candy cane. Look. Kidney stones. Well, you got kidney stones too?
Oh, yeah. That's a bummer.
I got lemons.
It's got lemons.
Lemon water in a little bit, I think.
Oh, okay. Yeah, he's given the lemon water for kidney stones. Okay. Anybody else here got kidney stones? No.
I got like fucking a bunch of joints left.
Well, that's good, man. See, there's always good news, bro. See, you got a bunch of joints left. Shit could be worse, dude.
I don't think I got much more work left, guys.
Look at that. You don't even got that much more work left.
This week's job is gonna be quick.
Right on, man.
And I'll be probably back in Cornwall for a few days.
Look at things looking up
Like the last
already.
Job. I'll only have one more job after that. And I think I'm done.
Right on. Well, good for you, buddy. We love it. Okay.
Investigation focuses on the death of a Boston police officer, John O'Keefe, and the woman the prosecutors say is responsible is his girlfriend, Karen Reed. Here's her story. Boston police officer John O'Keefe was found dead on a fellow police officer's front lawn in January of 2022. Prosecutors say after a night of bar hopping, John's girlfriend, Karen Reed, dropped him at a house for an after party before purposely backing her SUV into him and leaving him to die in the snow. But Karen Reed says John did go into that house party, and inside, John was killed and left outside to frame her for the death. Karen Reed's case drew national attention at trial. The jury couldn't make a decision. A mistrial was declared, and now Karen will have to do it all again for trial number 2. Going forward, will either side change their strategy? The defense in this case filed a motion to dismiss 2 of the 3 charges against Karen Reed after a mistrial was declared in her case. The defense argued that jurors from this case came forward after that decision, and they revealed that they had, in fact, behind closed doors, reached a unanimous verdict of not guilty on the charges of second-degree murder and leaving the scene of an injury or a death. The judge heard oral arguments for the defense's motion to dismiss in the months that followed the trial.
When we now know that jurors are declaring to the court that they believed they reached a verdict of not guilty, we can't just accept a fiction that the jury was at an impasse on all 3 counts when 4 jurors are saying to you through counsel they were not, and a 5th juror is saying to counsel indirectly they were not.
Now, the judge in this case, Judge Beverly Cannoni, ultimately denied the defense's motion to dismiss those 2 charges. But if the jurors agree that Karen Reed was not guilty of 2 of the 3 charges against her, here's our question. Did the jury believe that Karen Reed hit John O'Keefe with the car? Let's bring in our guests for this segment. Criminal defense attorney Joseph Krowski Jr. and trial attorney and partner at Brown Rudnick LLP, Wayne Dennison, is with us.
Now, let's see if anybody brings up the fact that the ARCA experts that testified were independent, not hired by the defense, and hired by the FBI, and the jury just didn't get to hear about it because they are investigating Norfolk County District Attorney Michael Morrissey.
Thank you both for being here. Let's first talk about the reaction from these jurors.
It's this guy. This guy's such a dickhead. This guy right here. This guy sucks. I don't know this guy, though.
Let me start with you. The jurors coming forward, the judge said she was going to accept her motion as accurate. But what do you think that says, if those statements are accurate, about what those jurors in the jury room believed about the impact and if it happened?
Well, I think if the statements are accurate, it's quite clear that they didn't think that Karen Reed intentionally killed John O'Connor. And that seemed
O'Connor
issue, which I think was overcharged to begin with, is probably off the
right there. That proves right there. Look at this.
If the statements are accurate, it's quite clear that they didn't think that Karen Reed intentionally killed John O'Connor. And
okay, man. See, right there, what that does is that proves to me that they don't bring on people who actually are have familiarized themselves with this case. Like, they're not going to bring on Mark Betterow. You know what I mean? For God knows what reason, I have no idea. But they would do very well by bringing on Mark Betterow. But they're not going to. They'd rather have somebody on there who has no fucking idea what they're talking about when it comes to this case. Now, they might know the law because they're lawyers. Okay, great. But the problem is that this case is unlike anything else. And these people are, every time you bring on an attorney, this is the problem with Court TV, by the way. This is another problem with Court TV. They bring on attorneys who know the law, but the problem with that is that this case is like none other, right? And the attorneys that they bring up are operating under the assumption that the Commonwealth is operating under in the interest of justice. That's the issue. So every time that they speak, they don't actually know anything about the case itself, and they assume that the Commonwealth and the judge are acting on the up and up in this case. So they're going to talk and give their opinions based on this. That's why it's inaccurate so fucking always with these lawyers that they bring on Court TV. That's why. That's exactly why. Because that shit flies and passes with every other case where the person that they have on trial is usually pretty guilty. Usually guilty. Excuse me, not pretty guilty. Either they are, they aren't, but usually guilty. Like 8 out of 10 times, right? Maybe even 9. But they, again, because they just assume they read an article or two and then they go up here and then they fucking talk. This guy didn't even get John O'Keefe's name right. Called him O'Connor. That tells me that this guy has no fucking idea about anything involving this case that's really important for an attorney who's going to comment on it should know. There's a lot of legal shit that any lawyer who's done the slightest bit of a deep dive, any cop with any integrity who's done the slightest bit of a deep dive into this case is going to go, wait a second, am I reading this right? Or am I hearing this right? What the fuck is going on here?
And that issue, which I think was overcharged to begin with, is probably off the table. From the reports that we can thus far glean, what we know is that we've got some jurors who apparently were split on the possibility that she hit him with a car. I think that's the only thing I could glean from those reports.
Yeah, those reports were really important. The judge did not bring in any jurors into the courtroom to talk to them directly, but she did say for purposes of making that order that she would accept what everyone was saying about these juror statements. Robert, let me ask you if you think, based on what we've heard about the split and what jurors were saying inside of that jury room, if they believe that she actually did hit him with the car, even if they couldn't agree on that middle count of manslaughter.
Oi, cunt.
You mean me, Joe? You forgot about me already. It's been a couple of weeks.
Apologize.
Just kidding. So look, the import of the information, for the sake of argument, it's true, would mean that the first charge was charged with murder. If they believe that Karen Read was not guilty of that charge, the showing of murder in Massachusetts requires proof that she intentionally did an act or she intentionally struck him. It's malice. They also believe that she was not guilty. What? If, for the sake of argument, you believe the accuracy of the information and reliability of the information being reported, they believe that she was not guilty of leaving the scene after causing personal injury. That also has a knowledge element to it. Conversely, what's going to be a little unnerving for her defense team is that same information was reporting either 8-4 or 9-3 or as high as 10-2 guilty on the manslaughter charge. And the difference between the manslaughter charge and the murder charge
is 8-4, dickhead.
Is that there's no requirement that she intentionally struck John O'Keefe and no requirement that she knew she hit John O'Keefe. The mere fact that she was drinking while intoxicated and put in motion the events.
The mere fact that she was drinking and intoxicated. Well, dude, why does this guy look like he's like trying real hard not to fucking shit himself?
Here in this case, her car striking John O'Keefe causing his death is enough. So, that's the converse side about this, and probably causing some alarm in the Karen Reed camp.
Yeah, Joseph, to your point, there were so many different splits that came out of this so-called reporting about what the jury decided on, that it was 6-6 for manslaughter, that was 8-4, 10-2, and it's hard to know what they really were arguing about in terms of manslaughter. But I want to show you this. This was from one of those filings. According to the defense, there was a juror who came forward and made this statement, and they were calling that juror B. That juror B confirmed that he or she had texted, quote, "It was not guilty on second degree," and split in half for the second charge, meaning manslaughter. And it goes on to say, no one thought she hit him on purpose or even knew that she had hit him. Wayne, your reaction to a juror going so far as to clarify that nobody in the room thought that it was done on purpose?
Well, that does explain the outcome here, at least as it's been recounted to us, because as Joseph just talked to you about, both of the other charges required intent. And you can accept that she didn't do it on purpose. You can accept that she might not even know she'd done that, but still get to the second charge of manslaughter.
Well, I want to talk about this as well. We now know that the family of John O'Keefe, they filed this civil complaint for wrongful death against not only Karen Reed, but also the bars that served Reed on the night that John O'Keefe died. So dram shop allegation. The complaint alleges that the bar's owners shared responsibility with Reed for O'Keefe's death. And in addition,
that's the stupidest shit in the fucking world. Like, Paul O'Keefe is reaching, bro. Because, like, dude, I'm telling you right now, trying to sue the Waterfall. First of all, the Waterfall, she had allegedly a total of 3 drinks. They only served her 2 drinks. Nobody testified or stated that she was visibly intoxicated. So she wasn't visibly intoxicated. She only had 2. She was only served 2 drinks at the Waterfall. She had a third one that she brought in with her from C.F. McCarthy's allegedly. And how are you going to hold her accountable? How are you going to hold the Waterfall Bar and Grill accountable if they only sold her 2 drinks and she didn't seem intoxicated? It makes no sense. Like, the fact that they even filed that shit is incredible to me.
in addition to this allegation, the lawsuit includes claims of negligent and reckless infliction of emotional distress against different members of John O'Keefe's family because of the loss of him. And they're naming the owners of C.F. McCarthy's, Waterfall Bar and Grill, names that we heard during this trial. Joseph, it's interesting the timing of this civil case. They did wait until the first trial was over, but do you think this is a time period where they can be successful in bringing it now when we haven't gotten to an actual trial that has an outcome?
Well, I do.
Right.
Because
Exactly.
the civil standard is less. It's a preponderance of the...
Yeah, Paul's stupid because I also, now there's just more incentive for them to testify on Karen's behalf. And say that she wasn't intoxicated, so I mean, there goes the manslaughter charge
of the evidence. It's not proof beyond a reasonable doubt. I happen to read the complaint. They filed it in the Brockton Superior Courthouse right out in front of my office today. And the difference is certainly there's a lesser standard. Strategically, I think it was very smart. They have the benefit of the first trial. They have the benefit of understanding the defense strategies. They have the benefit of witness testimony that's been memorialized and preserved on transcript. So I think they have a much better understanding of the liability issues than you would have in a typical civil case. The interesting thing is now the discovery is going to start, and how Karen Read's going to try to mount a defense to a criminal case while simultaneously defending her case herself civilly. Obviously, she still has Fifth Amendment protections even in a civil case. What I think they'll do is move to stay the civil case pending resolution of the still pending criminal case.
And Wayne, asking you as well about this civil lawsuit. If it goes to a trial, we've still got a county that seems divided when it comes to Karen Read. Do you think we may see a different outcome if it comes to a jury trial? We know most civil trials end with a settlement.
Well, but a civil trial in Massachusetts, like that trial, is not going to get heard for 3 years at minimum. The criminal trial will have likely resolved long before that, unless you get another mistrial, I guess. So I agree with Joseph. I think the likely outcome here is that the case is going to be stayed until the criminal trial goes forward. The criminal trial will long be over. The evidence adduced in the criminal trial will again, as Joseph suggested, be available for both the plaintiffs and the defendants.
Oh my God,
because there are certainly testimony that the defendants are going to want to.
Karen Read was framed.
So the only response that I was personally given was just, I hit him. Oh my God, I hit him.
I did notice something out of the ordinary, like a black blob in the ground by the flagpole.
That morning, I don't remember specifically what I Googled, but I do know what you've put out to the social media.
How about this? Cost long to die in cold. Does that sound familiar? Was the whole point of that trip, Ms. McCabe, to search for John?
It was, because she knew where he was.
And yesterday, during the entirety of your questioning by Mr. Lally, not once did you mention that this video is actually completely inverted.
I did not know.
Mr. Lally didn't ask you if it was inverted, correct?
That's correct.
And if I hadn't gotten up here because of questioning you, that would be left uncorrected.
Yep, so these came from me. From all accounts, he didn't do anything wrong. She's a whack job.
Jesus, dude.
Objection.
So don't spell it. You have to. So these are your words, Trooper Proctor?
Yes, Your Honor.
Go ahead and say them.
You weren't so much as objectively investigating her as objectifying her in those moments.
Yep. Again, Mr. Jackson, it was a poor choice of words and a joke.
Did the warrant say anything about looking for nudes on my part?
Objection.
I agree with you.
Thank you. Say anything about that?
No, Your Honor.
Okay, next question.
So that would be an abuse of the power that was given to you by the court, correct?
Objection.
Sustained.
That would be an abuse.
Those were some of the big moments from Karen Read's first trial, where the prosecution laid out their case saying that she hit him. She hit John O'Keefe, her boyfriend, with her SUV and left him to die in the snow. And the defense said that Karen Read was framed by a group of Canton police officers, other officials, and neighbors who they said killed John O'Keefe. The trial was long and the evidence was complicated, but after deliberating for 5 days, the jury sent this note to the judge.
Judge Cannoni, despite our rigorous efforts, we continue to find ourselves at an impasse. Our perspectives on the evidence are starkly divided. Some members of the jury firmly believe that the evidence surpasses the burden of proof, establishing the elements of the charges beyond a reasonable doubt. Conversely, others find the evidence fails to meet this standard and does not sufficiently establish the necessary elements of the charges.
I mean, we know now that you know, the at least the juror who Turtle Boy interviewed states that if they had known that the ARCA experts were hired by the FBI because Michael Morrissey's office is under federal investigation, that would have changed everything.
The deep division is not due to a lack of effort or diligence, but rather a sincere adherence to our individual principles and moral convictions. To continue to deliberate would be futile and only serve to force us to compromise these deeply held beliefs. I'm not going to do that.
Okay, we've heard this 1,000 times. All right, let's check in with our correspondent real quick. How we doing, buddy? Are you alive? Yo, Frost. Oh, snap. Okay. My bad. You were muted, buddy.
I know a song I should make. I don't know. I already fucked up by smoking a joint.
Yeah.
I need to make my music sober.
Yeah, you got to make your music sober, bro.
It's more like I can connect better with what I'm actually thinking.
Exactly. You can connect better. Exactly.
Being sober is all right.
Being sober is all right, bro. Absolutely. MC Frost, everybody. MC Frost. All right, let's see what there's now. They followed up on the Sandra Birchmore thing, and I want to see what Court TV had to say about that. And I like how they start this off.
The trial of Karen Reed divided the community of Canton, Massachusetts, and trial watchers across the country. Some say Karen killed her boyfriend after hitting him with her SUV. Others say she was framed by crooked cops. And in the wake of Karen Reed's mistrial, the mistrust for police brought another story to light, that of 23-year-old Sandra Birchmore. She was 3 months pregnant when found dead inside of her Canton, Massachusetts apartment in February of 2021. Sandra's death was ruled a suicide, but people had questions, including her family, who filed a lawsuit against 3 Stoughton police officers, alleging Sandra was groomed, sexually abused, and that her suicide may have been staged. Then in 2024, renowned forensic pathologist Dr. Michael Bodden came out saying he believed Sandra's death was a homicide. Now, one of the officers, 38-year-old Matthew Farwell, has been indicted on charges that he killed Sandra Birchmore and staged her suicide to hide her pregnancy and their secret relationship that allegedly started when she was just 15. Welcome back to Closing Arguments. We turn now to the story of a tragic death of 23-year-old Sandra Birchmore. This is a case that had breaking news today. But here's where the story started. It's really about a family who would not take no for an answer. The Massachusetts woman was 3 months pregnant when she was found dead in her apartment. This was 3 years ago, back in 2021. And this case also has some allegations of corrupt Massachusetts police officers. Sandra Birchmore, again, found dead in her Canton apartment. This is the same town. You've heard it if you watch us regularly on Court TV. In the trial for Karen Reed, it's where John O'Keefe was found dead on a fellow Boston police officer's front yard. Now, the victim in this case that we're talking about, Sandra Birchmore, she signed up for the Stoughton Police Department's Young Explorer.
Ladies and gentlemen, Glen Lake is departing the Glare National Airport. Please make sure to buckle up and have a safe flight, Glen Lake. Thank you for announcing your departure and have a safe flight.
Explorer program when she was just 13 years old. It was there that she met the man who is now accused of her murder. You see him there, Matthew Farwell. And according to an internal investigation, it was only 2 years later, after she was 13, so when she turned 15, that this alleged sexual abuse began. According to authorities, Farwell began that inappropriate relationship with Birchmore when she was 15 and he was 27. But that isn't the only accusation that is in this case. According to federal investigators, Farwell engaged in illegal sex with Birchmore while she was a minor and while he was on duty as an officer. And as time went on, their relationship continued, and eventually Birchmore became pregnant. And according to investigators, this was when Farwell turned violent. At one point, he allegedly put Birchmore in a headlock, explaining to her that he wished that she was dead. And then in February of 2021, Birchmore was discovered dead in her apartment, and her death originally ruled a suicide. But fast forward to June 26th of this year, famed forensic pathologist Dr. Michael Baden released his bombshell opinion. He told the world that her death was actually a homicide and that Birchmore had been strangled. Today, the Massachusetts U.S. Attorney's Office, in conjunction with the FBI, announced a federal grand jury officially indicted Matthew Farwell on charges of murder and staging the scene of her death.
Good afternoon. On February 4th, 2021, Sandra Birchmore was found dead in her Canton, Massachusetts apartment. The charges filed today in federal court allege that she was in fact murdered by Matthew Farwell 3 days earlier. At the time of her death, Sandra Birchmore was a 23-year-old woman with her entire life ahead of her, and she was pregnant with her first child. We allege that Sandra Birchmore survived years of grooming, statutory rape, and then sexual violence, all at the hands of Matthew Farwell, who was employed throughout their relationship as an officer and then detective for the Stoughton Police Department. And when it became clear to Mr. Farwell that he could no longer control Sandra Birchmore, he allegedly silenced her permanently. This morning, Matthew Farwell was arrested on a federal grand jury indictment, charging him with one count of killing a witness or victim. Specifically, Mr. Farwell is charged with violating Title 18 United States Code 1512 for killing Sandra Birchmore with the intent of preventing her from communicating information about his possible commission of federal crimes. Back in 2021, when the information was available, Sandra Birchmore's death was ruled a suicide or deemed a suicide. But over the last year or so, the FBI and our office have been working exhaustively with our state partners. We've uncovered critical new information, examined the existing information, all of which led to this federal grand jury indictment. If convicted on this charge, Mr. Farwell faces a minimum of life imprisonment. Giving voice to the voiceless, ensuring that no one is above the law, protecting the vulnerable people of Massachusetts, that's the highest calling of people in law enforcement. And this case represents those principles. And every day across Massachusetts, thousands of police officers, federal, state, local law enforcement, put their lives on the line to protect the people of Massachusetts. Mr. Farwell violated those principles, and now he faces very grave consequences.
This suspect faces charges now, but 3 years ago, Sandra Birchmore's family believed that something was wrong, did not believe that she took her own life, but they were the ones fighting as well to make sure that people knew that something was amiss. Let's get some insight into the law behind all this. Let's bring in our special guest, retired First Justice of the Westchester County Juvenile Court, Judge Carol Erskine is with us. Judge Carol, so glad to have you on, especially to talk about Massachusetts law with us. And tell me about the reaction in the community there. We know there have been a lot of questions in that community of authoritative figures, some of the systems, but what is the reaction to these charges now being announced?
Yes, well, thanks for having me on. I mean, the reaction, I think, has been what you might expect, that people had been waiting a very long time for something to happen in this case. This case became highly publicized a few years ago because of the involvement of Sandra in the Police Explorers program, and people reacted very.
This lady's a badass, man. She's advocating for kids. She's making the incredible super suits. She's amazing.
Strongly to this case, very sympathetically, but there has always been a lot of controversy over the finding that it was a suicide when so many people were making it clear that that she was not suicidal. So I think, people are just feeling very elated over the fact that there might actually be justice for Sandra. But I guess my question is, why did it take the federal investigators? Does it have to be that the federal investigators brought the charges? They did a wonderful job investigating it, but I think many people feel like Sandra was just completely ignored and sort of considered expendable by the state officials in Massachusetts through Norfolk County.
That is the biggest question here. Why did it take so long? And why even did the autopsy report not reveal more in this case, the initial one? He was still on the police force, and not until 2022 was he released from that position. Your thoughts on that aspect of it, whether or not there may have been others who helped this to be a case that did not make it to the federal grand jury until now?
Yeah, I think it's really concerning because in 2022, when there were protests outside of the Norfolk County DA's office from people that thought that the DA was not paying attention to this case, at the time, Michael Morrissey said, oh, well, we're paying attention to it. We're going to take a look at it, but there was no criminality. But really, when you think about it, how easy was it, for them to declare this a suicide, saying, well, we found her. She had this ligature around her neck. And so it was declared a suicide. The Canton police reports don't have much of the evidence that the federal investigators found. Simple things like she had laundry in the washing machine and laundry in the dryer, and that she just decided at that moment to commit suicide. I mean, these are things that were, I think, easily accessible and that seem to have been ignored. But I think the one thing that disturbs me the most about it is that it's easy to declare it a suicide, and I think the medical examiner may have made a finding about looking at the facts saying, well, she was on psychotropic medication and for depression. So that made it even easier for them to exploit her in depth by saying, well, she had a mental health issue. She was depressed. The autopsy shows the medication of the psychotropic drug. So I think it was easy for them to jump to the conclusion of suicide. And I think that's exactly what the alleged perpetrator was expecting.
Judge Erskine, thank you so much for breaking that down for us, especially your position being there in that area. I do want to bring in our think tank who's live with us still here. Criminal defense attorney Daryl Cohen, criminal defense attorney Meg Strickler, and criminal defense attorney Josh Schiffer with us as well. Why did it take so long?
Well, the fingers of corruption are in every single pie of this community. There's not a single bit of the investigation of this crime and others that doesn't go back to a small group of people.
Love this guy, bro.
Who are focused in on the leadership and management of law enforcement in Norfolk County, have been for decades. This is institutionalization at the highest level. And when something bad happens, it's easier to make it go away than to do the right thing because you're related to these people, you've worked with these people, you've dated with these people. If you go down the list of this small group of individuals that are all connected, and then you find a crime like this that's just squashed, come on, it confirms everything that we know happens behind the scenes. And it destroys legitimacy in Norfolk County and Worcester County, where Judge Erskine's from. I spent my undergraduate years there. It's not a surprise that there's this much corruption hiding justice from the voters of the Commonwealth. And it's horrifying. Thank you, federals, for going on in there and trying to clean it up. You need independent investigators without connections to these communities to root out the cancer that is corrupt law enforcement.
Come on, Josh. Sometimes the easiest way is the best way. And in this case,
that guy's amazing, bro.
Easiest way was the worst way. I don't assume that the entire police force is corrupt. What I do know is this is going to have a terrible effect on the prosecution for Karen Read.
Nobody's saying that the entire police force is corrupt, you dickhead. Nobody's saying that. Quit putting words in people's mouths. We're saying that there is corruption and the cancer needs to be taken out. That's it.
Read, because they're definitely intertwined in the public's view. That's what they are.
Meg's got a look. She doesn't quite agree with that.
No, I don't agree because I think what happened here, this is my opinion, is that in the feds picked it up and the feds made sure that they had this perfectly set up in order to get a conviction. And that's why it took a good few years. That's how the feds work. They're prosecuting cases from 2019 still. They're just how they roll.
I mean, I disagree with that. I think that this happened as a result, and she's afraid to say it for whatever reason, or she just doesn't know. But this is not a coincidence that Michael Morrissey's DA's office is under federal investigation, and they are looking into, we know this for a fact now. We know this for a fact because the ARCA experts, and there's a 3,000-page discovery. There's 3,000 pages that are, well, I don't think it's discovery, but a 3,000-page report that of a federal investigation into Michael Morrissey's office, which means that what they were doing in order to efficiently investigate Michael Morrissey is to investigate the investigations that he that operated under his umbrella. And Sandra Birchmore's case is one of those cases, and that's all that happened. I think the very same thing happened in this case as it did in the John O'Keefe case. They conducted their own independent investigation, and they were able to get results quick for Sandra Birchmore while they still work behind the scenes to get enough of a case against Michael Morrissey and anybody working under him, anyone they can indict. I believe that's happening right now.
And I think if there's a Karen Reed issue, then we could somehow spin it to a federal situation if we need to.
Let me show you this, because we have another disturbing detail that's alleged from this internal investigation that Matthew Farwell's twin brother, Officer William Farwell, also had an inappropriate relationship with Sandra Birchmore, the victim in this case. Now, according to this investigation and those documents, William Farwell also an officer, exchanged explicit messages and images with Birchmore while he was on duty. And then there was a third man alleged to have had an inappropriate relationship with Birchmore, Robert Devine. He was the man in charge of that youth mentor program. The reason that Birchmore was even connected to these officers is she was going to learn more about being a police officer one day when she grew up, which she was not. Wow. Here is Devine pictured with Birchmore as a teenager in that program prior to being interviewed as part of the internal investigation. Both of these men then resigned from the force.
I love that they're talking about this. Good for them.
I think we got a super dad. Super dad. I think we got a super dad. Super dad. Super dad. Super dad. I think we got a super dad. I think we got a super dad.
Does my mouth look blue? Really? No, I don't think so. I think I got it all off. I think you're just listening to the earlier part of the stream. Thank you. Appreciate it.
Of course. And here's what U.S. Attorney Joshua Levy said today at the press conference when asked about other possible suspects in this case.
I'm not going to comment on information that's not in the public record. As you heard, this is an ongoing matter, so we're going to continue to look at this matter. And if there's other individuals that we develop evidence they violated the federal law, we'll proceed.
Think tank, your reaction to knowing that there could be potentially.
There is more people involved, 100%. And electronics are going to prove it through the GPS, through the text messages, through all the things they exchange through social media. It's a virtual guarantee there's more charges.
So what are the charges going to look like?
But my question really is after she was 21, if she was doing this as an adult, 18, 19, 20, 21, that's inappropriate, but it's not illegal.
But it's
disgusting.
And here's
Man, dude, shut the fuck up. What a douchebag this guy is. Did you hear that shit? Like, how the fuck do you think it's a good idea to sit there and split those hairs on court TV? You dumb shit. Really? Just to be the opposing view? You have to say some dumb shit like that? She was groomed, you dickhead. She was groomed. There's proof that they all slept with her there's proof that they all abused her prior to her becoming an adult. Wow.
Here's the biggest problem. This didn't occur in a vacuum. These people all work together. Have you ever been in a small group of people where someone's doing some shenanigans? No. Everybody else finds out. I'm angry about the people that turned their eyes up, turned to the position of their head and refused to see the crimes. Crimes that people go to prison for every day in America. Having an inappropriate relationship with teenage girls, that's generally a no in my community. If it's a law enforcement officer, you've got to be kidding me.
If she was a teenager when they started, if she was 20, 21, 22, I disagree. I think it's inappropriate, it's wrong, but
she was
not.
already abused and they were in a position of power. And
nobody's fucking, why are you bringing that up? Nobody's arguing that, you dumb shit. Nobody's arguing that it was, whether or not it was illegal to sleep with somebody who's over 18. Of course it's inappropriate. Nobody's saying that they broke the law in that way. We're talking about the fact that she was abused by these three men prior to her turning 18. Prior to her turning 16. The fuck are you talking about? She was groomed from the time she was 12. The fuck is wrong with you? Oh, I'm just saying it's not illegal.
Had a relationship with her when she was 15, and 5 years later, she was already a wounded individual. And for these scumbags to go ahead after her after that is absolutely despicable.
If that's the case, and that's a big
we
if.
do have a statement. We want to hear what the
That's a
police chief,
big
Donna
if.
McNamara.
That's a big if, dude. That's a big if. See, you didn't. I mean, all you have to do is just look into the case. It's all you have to do is just look into it a little bit. I haven't even looked into it that much. I am totally certain that those 3 men abused that woman. I am absolutely certain of it. Unreal.
Released after this explosive indictment. And it reads in part, the allegations against the suspect, a former police officer here, represents the single worst act of not just professional misconduct, but indeed human indecency that I have observed in a nearly 3-decade career in law enforcement. We do have to take a break, but we're going to keep talking about this case. There's a lot more to unpack coming up. We're going to dive into more of the horrific details, the grooming details, and the tragic death of Sandra Birchmore, including some disturbing text messages between the suspect and the victim.
It is disheartening to have to charge law enforcement officers, especially with crimes as serious. But it's our job at the Department of Justice to investigate potential crimes without fear and without favor.
In terms of this relationship, because it sounds like she's talking to some people about it.
It wasn't missed.
Ignored.
It was ignored. Exactly. I want the list of people that worked with this guy, that turned a blind eye, that had sworn an oath to protect and serve. Yet when it's someone they work with, when it's someone they know, when there's some sort of non-arm's length relationship, they're only too happy to turn a blind eye and let absolutely some of the most horrific crimes possible happen under the guise of a badge. The power of law enforcement to chill that speech is endless.
How much do you think law enforcement knew about this when she was found dead?
If you're talking law enforcement, the broad scope of law enforcement, probably not many, but a few knew. And if the facts are as alleged, this is more than despicable. Not just her death, but the way she was abused, apparently. But again, facts are not always what's alleged, and what's alleged are not always the facts. But this is horrendous. And I think it was a few officers who were a cadre.
You know what that sounds like? It sounds like during commercial break, somebody was like, hey, man, you might want to take a look at this real quick. See what that is? See what that says? Yeah, she was abused. She was abused by all 3 men. So, yeah, I'm pretty sure that's what happened. Caveman, thank you so much. The feds are not coming because they already here. Heads are going to roll. I agree. Petty Paralegal gifted 10 memberships. Oh, my God. Thank you so much, Petty Paralegal. Oh, my God. Thank you so much for that.
Cadre, they came together. I'm going to protect you. You're going to protect me. And by the way, we're all in this together. That's horrendous.
I have a suspicion there'll be, I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
I have a suspicion there'll be some text messages that show some culpability between some other officers. When this incident occurred, when they were covering it up, I have a strong suspicion there's going to be some text messages that are going to be incriminating between different folks.
Oh, in the Karen Reed case, I really want to show you this picture first, and then I'm going to get your reaction, Josh, because what we were able to find in these documents is a photo that was sent from the victim to the defendant in this case. After she finds out she's pregnant, she tells him, and it says, congrats, we are going to be parents. His response, according to the documents, is that I literally have nothing to say right now. How could you express that in text when I said I don't appreciate it?
What a scumbag. That's the grooming. That's just abuse central, where she's trying to still please him, and he has been abusive for years and years and years. And she still looks at him as like, oh, I love you so much. We're going to be parents. And this kind of infantile way of looking at things. And then he slaps her down once again. It's horrible.
And I can almost have a little bit of pity for his twisted brain, more than the people that just didn't do the right thing when they found out about it. I can feel for someone. He may have abuse in his background. Something was twisted that made him go try to groom a child.
I mean, you're reaching there, Elton, but I get it. I get what you're saying. And I'm picking up what you're putting down, dude. I am. You know what I mean? I know what you're saying. These motherfuckers, maybe he has abuse in his background, so maybe that's his excuse. But what the fuck is and it's not even an excuse, but you can understand, right? Shit like that does happen. It's pretty common. But the fact of the matter is that you're saying that the people who knew about it didn't do shit about it or joined in on it, and they're fucking sick fucks too. And the people who didn't do anything in certain ways are worse, is what this gentleman is saying. Last Ronin, thank you so much. To all my peeps watching, you know who you are. Thank you so much, Last Ronin. Yeah, I love how genuinely pissed this guy is.
Child using his position of authority. The people that knew about it, there are going to be records of, hey, you should go look at this. Hey, I saw something a little bit strange. Those are the pieces of evidence that will eventually rip this open. It's a matter of going and finding them, something that we cannot trust local law enforcement to do.
But they got it now.
Yeah,
the feds did the subpoenas, they subpoenaed everything, and I guarantee we're going to learn some stuff.
We're going to see a lot of officers resigning from the force quickly to avoid prosecution in their view. Whether they avoid it or not, another story, but we'll have to wait.
And save their retirements.
Let's look at what else we got, because these are newly released court documents. We've been pouring through them, highlighting.
That dude changed his tune real quick.
disturbing details that happened around the timing of this alleged murder and what was going on in Farwell's life. So take a look at this. On February 1st, 2021, Farwell decided to act. This is according to the state case against him, the Fed case against him. So for him, that day provided at least two advantages. There was a blizzard that was approaching the greater Boston area, ensuring that no one would notice Birchmore's.
That's a few more zeros than accurate there, little Irish girl. But yeah, something like that.
Absence from work for several days, and Farwell's wife was hours away from delivering their third child. Now, Farwell is alleged to have begun this sexual relationship with Birchmore when she was only 15 years old. She had gone for that program at the police station. Those newly released court documents state that he wished it had been sooner. In text messages with Birchmore, he romanticizes the statutory rape, according to the prosecution. Now, by discussing that the first time that they knew they were going to have sex and that he had regret that they didn't start earlier in 2020.
It starts off terrible.
It gets worse.
And gets worse.
But
And
that
it's
wife
impossible
knew.
to get worse.
No, that
And it
wife
did get
knew.
worse. There's no way, in my view, that his wife did not know something was going on with someone. Whether or not she knew more of the circumstances, more of the specifics, we don't know. But there's no way that she was living with him and not being aware that he was having some sort of relationship.
No, Daryl, don't go report that. He's just got a weird sense of humor. He's just eccentric. He's a great cop,
He
though.
probably downloaded child porn too. Come on.
I'm telling you, every time people freak out on the criminal defense bar for coming up with, this is what we see. And we talk about how no one believes our outrageous allegations about fraud, abuse, betrayal of oaths. Everybody loves to trust the badge and the uniform when we're raised to do that. But the betrayal, not just of this individual, but of a system that protected him for years.
But most of the time, the police officers are good, honest people.
Absolutely.
Most of the vast majority of time, but the few make the biggest smell.
Yes, agreed.
Live think tank. It's always exciting to have you all here and going.
Right on. That was a good panel right there, man. That was really good. That was really good. What'd you think about that, MC Frost? Thank you, Jam Cracker. That was really nice of Jam Cracker, wasn't it, Frost? How you doing there, buddy?
If I want to talk to her, make a legal arrangement to see your daughter. Dana OG. Okay, so that is on the potential, right? I'm just saying that is on the fucking. It's on the table. It's already been thought of.
It's on the table.
Because there's never
Gotcha.
There's never been that.
Right.
Chocolate pocket puff. I'm just gonna believe it. I smoked one already.
Okay. You already started. Okay, go ahead. I see you, dude.
Okay.
I see you, buddy.
But today, yesterday, we blaze. All right.
We blaze. I love it. All right.
I don't give a fuck. I'm staying away from hard drugs. It's not really a good. Like, I'm not really in a good emotional state. So let's say I got to do that, man. Okay. Like the first step is going to a mediator. Okay. And then getting her to or I think the first step is actually just like sending the mom a communication what I want, and then if I get a response or I don't get a response or whatever, I'll go and work with the court.
Let me ask you something though, dude.
And then from there, if that doesn't work out, then it's like family court shit.
Right. So let me ask you something, buddy. Do you think that doing live streams and smoking weed is going to help you with your case to get custody of your kid, buddy?
I don't think. But yeah, you're right. That's the path.
That's what I'm trying to tell you.
It's just still too fresh. It's still too fresh.
It's right. It is too fresh. Right.
It's going to be tough to navigate that situation. I'm just saying.
It doesn't have to be tough though.
There could be obstacles ahead.
It doesn't have to be obstacles. That's what I'm trying to tell you, buddy.
I'll figure it out.
You should. I know you will figure it out. You're a figure outer. That's what you are, bro. I believe in you. I believe in you. What else is on your mind, bro?
Even if I was able to work it out, okay.
Right?
I foresee constant misery coming from that.
Dude.
Just like a negative energy coming from the fucking.
I know, just negative, right? Just draining.
Everything she's been communicating with me with is just all negative shit. Things that are concerning her and things that she's worried about and blah 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 blah.
MC Frost there. let's do this now. All right. Time to open up the phone lines. What's up, Mizzy? Good to see you. There's a little, while we wait, I'll give you guys a little, this is in the merch. These mugs are available. I'm here just to get you to do it. Here's a little, slurping action there for you guys.
Call from Dina.
What's up, Dina?
Clara. What's going on, my friend?
What's going on, Pissa?
I am gearing up for tomorrow's nationwide standout.
Oh, yeah?
And and I'm going to hit a ton of standouts. I'm going to pop into a whole bunch. I got my route all planned out because when I was down at the courthouses, I took one of the buffer zone signs, the original one.
Okay.
Yeah, well, it fell out the back of a truck and landed in my car, let's say.
Oh,
anyways,
right. Yeah, I mean, because that happens.
I am going to get everybody's signatures that were out protesting and down at the courthouse. And I got a framed thing so everyone can sign it. And then I'm going to get, when it's all filled out and signed, I'm going to give it to Nick Rocco to auction off and donate the money will go to Karen Reed Defense Fund.
Okay, right on.
So everybody out at the standouts, wherever you are, I'm coming everywhere. I'm going to drive everywhere to try to get everybody's signatures.
Right on. All right. Dina's going to go around and get signatures on this thing. This is great. And then she's going to auction it off.
Yeah. I mean, I can't come to Tennessee to get your signature as much as I'd love to because you're secretly hidden away from us stalkers. But anyway. And I watched replay the other night. I think you need your own show on sex education with the Glera.
Oh, yeah? No, I mean, that's it. That's all I know. That's it. That's the extent of my knowledge. That's all I know. I don't know anything beyond that.
But anyways, I'm going to hit a few of the Mass State Police barracks also. And I just want to say to everybody out there, stay safe and let's show them that we ain't got no quit.
No quit. Thank you, Dina.
No quit. Thanks, Clara.
All right. Hell yeah.
Call from.
You're on. Who am I speaking with?
Hi, it's Arlene. How are you this evening?
I'm fantastic, Arlene. How are you?
I'm doing pretty good. Looking forward to having a couple days off, but not really, because I also have my other job I work. But I just wanted to say I am all the way out here in Utah, and I know there's a good handful of us that are following along.
Utah?
And
are you a Mormon?
Oh no! I'm originally from California. I'm those people that like most Utahns hate because I came here from California.
You moved to Utah from California, and you're not LDS? Amazing.
Nope.
I've never even heard of that. Anyway, go on.
Oh no, you're fine. Big military family, and everybody got stationed at the same base at the same time. Yep.
Military makes perfect sense.
Just wanted to say, one, I'm kind of shocked I got through. But two, just wanted to say thank you. You're awesome. And the gal before who said the comment about sex ed, I have to laugh because I frequently watch, I believe it's Aussie Insider's video of like mic drops or whatever. And the one where they were talking about all the things in the bed. And you reminded me that it's coitus And it makes me smile and laugh every time. So I want to say thank you for that.
I only say coitus because I've seen The Big Lebowski 1,000 times, and that's why.
I teach
I would
junior
not-
high school.
I wouldn't even know that word if it weren't for that movie.
I teach junior high school, so it's really funny. Like it is a funny word all the time. Coitus.
Coitus?
But yeah, I think you guys are awesome. Just wanted to say that. And thanks for taking my call.
You're welcome. Thank you for calling.
All right, bye.
All right, bye-bye. Next caller. Do you like sex, Mr. Lebowski? Coitus, physical act of love. Coitus?
Call from Suzanne.
Hi, Suzanne.
Hi, how are you?
I'm fantastic. How are you?
All right. I probably have no business being on tonight because I'm exhausted and don't even have a voice, but
Me
I
too.
just can't even with this story.
With what
It's
story?
just with Farwell.
Oh.
Like I just can't. I mean, they did an okay-ish job on that court TV panel, but
Right.
they could stand to brush up on their trauma-informed dialogue, I feel.
Well, I feel like I mean, I agree, and I think the more things come out and become more public, like the stuff that you're aware of, that stuff is public for sure. But you know, sometimes, I mean, for the people who are not going to look beyond court TV, at least the outrage was there. You know what I mean? Like, I feel like that was at least they covered that. They didn't sit there and dance around like did they do this? There were panelists up there that were genuinely outraged about the whole thing. And the one guy called out the corruption, which this is not something that we're used to seeing on court TV.
That's fair. That's fair. And you know, the reality is no one should have to digest this material because it shouldn't
Right.
exist.
I agree.
There's nothing about this story that should even be happening in our human real life. It's
Right.
even real life.
And considering how disgusting the entire situation is, they still went into pretty nasty detail about it, you know? So I personally don't have a lot of gripes with court TV and how they covered that. Only because, like I said, at least the outrage was there. And I think that a lot of people are going to pick up on that outrage, and it's gonna
Yeah, no, you're right, Will. You always are, or most of the time, like 99% of the time, you're right. I
Oh
think
my God.
my bar is way too high on this.
Listen.
In terms of the outrage.
You just said something to me that no woman has ever said to me in my entire life. Okay. 99% of the time I am right. You hear that, Jerry? 99% of the time I'm right. Now, one of these days.
Well, I'm relaxing. It's
Yeah.
a Sunday night. I'm relaxing. So I'm in the zone.
You
Good
didn't say
compliment.
100, but you don't really know me, so it's fair. You know, 99 is
Yeah.
fair. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a high bar. It's a
Right.
high bar.
It is. It is.
But yeah, this is a lot, isn't it?
It really is. How do you feel about I mean, what do you think is going to happen with the other two, William Farwell and Devine, Robert Devine? What do you think? How you think that's going to happen soon, or?
I think that it has to have to be careful because what I think is not 100% on par with what might logistically happen. But we know that information is released that both William Farwell's lawyers have quit, the civil and the criminal. That's not a great sign for him.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. I mean,
we're trying
Matthew
to find out,
Farwell
does that
is
mean they're
in.
moving in on him?
Matthew Farwell is up to his chin in shit. He's not getting out of this. This is just going to get worse and worse for him.
No, and I think his brother's rolling over on him.
Maybe that makes sense. That makes sense.
It's allegedly my theory. I don't.
Sure, yeah, you're
I'm trying to
speculating.
learn that language. I come in hot. I don't really always have a system of checks and balances, so I have to learn.
You're speculating
allegedly.
you're speculating with and using the facts that are made available to you, and everyone here understands that.
And 2 years of obsessively learning about and knowing the details of this case, because I am so done with her, the way it all happened and the way we're learning. I mean, these details are just unfathomable.
Agreed. Yeah.
So
I
2
still
years of
haven't.
getting to know it. They're doing a number on me.
I still haven't gotten around. I am absolutely invested and intrigued in this case, and I still haven't brought myself to read the FBI affidavit, only because.
Well, if you and Terry want to get on an online support Zoom, we can do it together, because it is not for the faint of heart, and we've all been true crime.
That's
junkies
where
forever.
you could show me autopsy photos, man, while I'm eating. I don't care, but when you're talking about abuse of a kid like that, man, I get really, it's
Well, I did read it
stuff
all,
the
and
stomach.
it's cost me 3 nights of sleep already.
Jesus.
I mean, it's gonna, and I'm obviously not a wimp as far as these things go, but there are moments. I mean,
And I know
broke
I
down
have
a
to
couple
read it.
times.
I know I have to read it in order to understand the case better. I've just been putting it off. I've just
There
been
are
putting it
no
off.
there are no have tos. I say this to everyone. You
Yeah.
don't need to force yourself to digest this appalling material.
Well,
If you
the
do,
thing is
make
I
sure you're
want to
supported.
understand. I want to understand exactly what kind of case they have. I want to understand. You know what I mean? Like I'm invested, so I want to understand. And it's that it's tough stuff. I mean, I was really invested in the Gannon Stout case, and I knew, and I was dying for that trial to happen, but I knew I was going to see things in that trial that I wasn't going to be able to, really, but because I was just so invested in justice for this poor kid,
Well, and that's why I read it. I muscled through it and I read it, because I feel such a strong duty to help with justice for Sandra Birchmore, that I needed to understand even the most painstaking of details. And
right. And you've put so much of yourself into this. You've put so much of yourself into this case already too. So it's like, and this is Suzanne Cleveland, everybody, if you guys don't know who this is. But
thank you.
But yeah, I mean, you've poured so much into this case. You have to. You know what I mean? There's like a part of you that's just going to be like, okay, I've done this much. I have to fully understand this case.
Well, once you do, you can't half-ass it.
Right.
She deserves the most from everybody.
I mean, because reading it and stomaching it is exactly, well, the thing is it's not even close to what Sandra suffered. So
right. So if you're like me and you've been into this case for the past 2 years and sort of feeling it, which is a difficult thing to do,
right?
It speaks to anybody who's involved in this case on a level of you feel some of her pain, and you don't want
right.
You don't want to feel her pain, but you kind of have to feel the necessary outrage to follow through on the rest of this messy, horrible case, because they ain't done yet. They got one guy. They got scumbag number one.
But
is he even scumbag number one? I mean, he's obviously at the top of the list in terms of how she died, but the other two, let's not understate the level of debauchery and involvement that they had. I don't know why they're still walking the earth.
I just hope it's just because the FBI is building a case for Levy to successfully prosecute. I have to
Well,
believe
and I
that.
think that unfortunately, because of Robert Devine's level of expertise in the law, I think he's probably maneuvering and jamming them up a lot.
Possibly, yeah, but I mean, wouldn't we know about that? Wouldn't there be like motions filed and shit like that?
Well, there is in the civil suit, but
Right.
you know, we're not going to be privy to the motion
Yeah,
magic that's going on in the criminal part.
in the criminal aspect, right?
But yeah, the motions on the civil end, they got Divine signature in perpetuity all over them. He knows. I mean, this guy's specialized in getting his law degree in torts, which is exactly what her civil case is.
Right.
He's not. I hate saying it. I hate hearing myself say it, but he's a very smart man.
Right. Yeah. No. That's
Saying whatever.
it's that's an adversary. You know, for sure. He's a smart
Oh
man.
yeah, not
and-
a worthy adversary. A
No,
terrible
right.
adversary.
I was careful to keep that word out. But definitely an adversary, one that is to be, reckoned with, most definitely.
But I do think it's relevant that William Farwell's both lawyers have jumped ship. And I don't know. There's no word on who now has the case.
That's fascinating.
Case is, but because, like I said, the criminal and the civil are two different animals.
Right.
So that's an interesting development that is, I think, the last 24 hours. You know, they love to do this shit going into a holiday weekend.
Right.
That's an Auntie Bev special right there.
Yeah. Yeah.
Friday at 3:30.
I have to just believe that there's just more to come, and they're just being thorough. I mean, I tell people on Twitter, because people are like, "Oh my God, the feds are taking forever," and I'm just like, my answer is always, you want it done quick or you want it done right. I mean,
No, that's where our boy Levy comes in. I mean,
right.
His speech is chef's kiss. I
Right.
mean,
Agreed.
he says it. I'd watch it again and again. It's
Absolute
painful.
no nonsense whatsoever.
And
Very
he says a lot. He
Right.
says a lot.
right. I definitely got the feeling that there was because I didn't get the impression that he actually felt like or that he was trying to come off as though the Norfolk County District Attorney's Office and the Massachusetts State Police helped with the investigation. I think they just cooperated to a certain degree, and they have to. Michael Morrissey is under investigation by the very same office.
Well, I mean, nobody gets a prize or a cookie for complying
for
when
doing
they
your
have a gun
fucking
to
job. Yeah, like it's the question is, it remains, why the fuck didn't you come up with the same evidence that the FBI did 2 years ago? You know what I mean?
or pick any one of the other subcategories of criminality
Right.
that were on the table, because we don't just have the big one that Matthew is now,
Yeah.
apprehended for. We've got like a dozen.
Yeah, we're not looking
And
at
some of them were state, some of them were federal. There was a bunch of options. Stoughton could have pursued, Canton could have pursued.
Sure.
There was a lot on the table that could have been,
and it was brushed
I
under
don't
the
know
rug,
why.
swept under the rug.
Yeah, it's.
I mean, you can't
it's
deny that. Like
unbelievable.
they cannot deny that. That's exactly what happened. Because the fact is that this investigation, that they're perfectly capable of coming up with, and I just don't buy the bullshit that the FBI and the U.S. Attorney's Office have been investigating this case since Sandra Birchmore's death. I think that it's just a result of them investigating Michael Morrissey's office and anything underneath that umbrella. That's my opinion. The fact that it was, if the feds had been on this case in the first place, the way that they're saying, and the way that like Koffendorfer implied, the way that the lady who, and bless her heart, she was outraged properly, but she wasn't very well educated on the case. you know, she alluded that well, you know, it takes the feds years to build a case, and then she's right as far as that goes. But the problem is that's not the case in Sandra Birchmore's case, because the fact is that if the feds were investigating this case from the beginning, Sandra's death would never have been ruled a suicide.
Correct. And why was it ever ruled a suicide? Why?
Because the feds were not involved.
When you see it, right? But when you see it now, I mean, no amount of common sense, even at the, you know, at the town level, the municipal level, at the state level, it didn't even try.
Right.
To investigate it another way. And moreover, it seems like they were actually, you know, pushed towards the outcome. I don't actually believe that all 8 people in the room said, yeah, we'll go with that. I believe there was some dissension.
Oh, sure.
About that.
Sure.
And I don't know if we'll even find out about that, but somebody did protest, you know, that hey, maybe we should look at a couple more things. And we're kind of advised by, I'm going to go ahead and say it, by Lang, hey, why don't you guys just go watch the doorway, like F off and go outside.
Right.
And you know, guard the parking lot, because, and you know, it's already a secure parking lot, but go ahead, go stand out there.
Right.
You know.
Plausible deniability, all that bullshit. Yeah. It's the craziest shit I've ever.
It's bananas, but I'm gonna let you take another caller. You know, I could stay on all night going back and forth about this, because I am lit, and I'm not gonna be unlit until they're all in jail.
Yeah, but it's happening. It seems like it's happening. Thanks for calling, Suzanne. I appreciate you.
Yeah, have a good one, guys.
All right, bye. Suzanne, y'all.
Call from.
You're on. Who am I speaking with?
Holy shit, I'm on with Will. I can't even believe it. It's Dina, but it's not that Dina. I actually changed my Google name to not that Dina because I didn't want the confusion.
Gotcha.
But I've been dying to get you to play this stuff. So Yvette, who is the GOAT, she's the bomb, the one that dealt with Bukkake the other day, right? So she was on with Grace.
The lady who Bukkake showed up to her house. What was the story behind that? Do you know?
Well,
what was he there for?
He was there because previously she was one of the ride-bys that took some video of Jen McCade. There was a video of it. Okay. She took some video of her, and Jen was in her driveway looking like a fucking skeleton. And she was like, you know, caught up with that by doing the drive-by. She was in the street. She was in her car. It was quick. It didn't last long. So then, now all this time later, this motherfucker shows up at her house and
so how long ago,
back door.
Real quick. How long ago was it that she filmed Jen McCabe outside of her house?
I think it was about a year ago.
Wow.
It was a while ago. Yeah, it was way before the trial.
Okay.
So she goes on and she calls in. Now, this had already been like published and whatnot.
That lady's awesome, because what I'm getting out of this is that Bukkake shows up to confront her about that. So her response to that is to whip out her phone and just be like, "Yeah, fuck you. Like, I'm going to film your ass too. Like, get the fuck out of here. You're going to jail, you piece of shit." Like, that's beautiful.
But what I want you to do is, so she was not just on Howie Carr Friday, all right? She was also on Grace Curley previous to that in the second hour. And it was funny. I mean, she was funny as fuck.
Man, I don't know.
Honest to God. So it's like the second hour of Grace Curley. She went on to play Woke a Joke, one of Grace's things that she does. And she was the first caller. And she's like, "Oh yeah, I was that person." And she's like, oh, wait a minute, we could ask you like 17,000 questions, and kind of pushed off her whole segment. to get some of this stuff, and then sent it over to Howie. When she was on Howie, that was the shit. She's like, I was on gummies, and I'm like, this guy shows up at my house, and he's got like no lips and shit. Oh, dude, you got to play both. You got to find them. It takes 2 seconds.
No, it takes longer than that.
No, you don't have to. You don't have to play them tonight. I'm just saying, put it in your back pocket, kid. That's all I'm saying. Put it in your back pocket. Pull it up at a later date because it's worth the listen. It is hilarious, and I'm not that Dina. So I just want to say, as not that Dina, I am so thankful that such a sweetheart of a woman shares my name. It is in my state. And I'm glad you like our accent.
Yes, yeah.
And we love you.
You guys are fantastic. I love you guys too.
All right. Have a great night, kid.
You too. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye-bye. You're on. Who am I speaking with?
Hi, this is Linda.
What's up, Linda?
I've been watching your show all evening, and I just wanted to, make a statement that I'm so glad that this finally came out, all the evidence through Levy in regard to the Sandra Birchmore case.
Yeah.
But also I have been following from the beginning the Karen Reed trial as well.
Right.
And I think, that there's so many of the same players, they did the so-called investigation in the Reed case.
Oh yeah.
And then with this case, I guess at Guarino.
Guarino.
Fanning. Yes. And Fanning. And there's another one. Kevin Albert. I mean, he wasn't with it, but he was also involved.
PD.
And I think I don't have any proof, of course, but it's just my opinion. I think they covered that up. Her, saying that it was a suicide. They didn't investigate. And then what is it with the medical examiner? These medical examiners,
Right.
they just jumped to a conclusion because Sandra was on medication. Oh, that it was a suicide. They didn't check anything. They didn't invest in anything, and it parallels with the Reed case.
Right. That all that tells me is especially if you're looking at the Reed case, you're looking at it's not out of line to speculate that the medical examiner was tampered with in some way.
That's what I believe. I believe it was tampered with. I think.
Sure.
When I watched the trial and I saw the medical examiner and then Proctor's testimony, how he tried to manipulate her and get her to change, her findings.
Right.
And then I'm thinking, and then it seems
she didn't
like
bend on that.
Exactly. And then it seems like these police officers are from generation and generation and generation, like the father, the grandfather.
Yeah, that's a problem. Is
and
all of the
and it's like they're all in their little clique and they cover for each other.
Right.
And they thought that with Sandra they could just dispose of her, and those men are disgusting. And that Divine. I mean, she was like 12 or 13 years old when she got in that program, and she had lost her mother.
Yeah.
Lost her.
She never stood a chance, man. She never stood
She didn't have a chance in life. She didn't, but she was trying. She was
sure
trying.
was.
She was happy about the baby, and she wanted to be a nurse and wanted to have it sounds ridiculous, but a so-called normal life. Give a better life for her baby.
Right. When I think about what she was doing, because the term blackmail is thrown around in what she was doing, and technically it was blackmail. Technically, like by definition, her saying, "Hey, I'm going to turn you in and report you if you don't give me a baby," that is blackmail. But the fact is I understand where she was coming from when she did that. I'm not saying it was the right thing to do, but I'm saying I get what her logic was, because she felt, in my opinion, this was her only chance to get something normal and positive and beautiful out of such an ugly situation that she was just
Yes.
like
Well, don't
entangled
forget,
in.
she was groomed.
She was that's what I
groomed
mean
by
is
that divine.
she's
She was,
tattooed
this
with
to her
right.
was like normal.
She's tattooed by this. So
Exactly.
you know what I mean? Her soul, her mind is tattooed by this shit that she's going through. So the way
Exactly.
she's looking at it is, well, you know, I'll cover up my ugly tattoo with a pretty one. You know what I mean? That's kind of her logic.
And then I think too, she was, as a woman's point of view, I was thinking that she probably wanted a baby, just to have a baby to love.
That's what I mean.
And maybe
Yeah.
help the child to have a better life than she had.
That's
to
what I
direct
mean,
her,
is
he or she in the right direction.
by something beautiful. That's exactly what I mean, is
Yes.
the beautiful thing being having a baby, someone to love, a pure kind of love to come out of this very
And she was
unnatural
so excited. She wanted pictures of the setting everything up, shopping. She was expecting deliveries, baby
Yeah,
clothes and things that
right.
she had ordered.
She booked a
And
photographer to take.
but yes, yes,
I mean,
it's just heartbreaking with
it is.
these devils. I call them devils.
That's what they
Because
are.
they're not animals. Animals, like I'm a dog lover. They're evil.
Soulless
They're
predator. Right.
yeah, predators. And you know what else I think? I bet you even more is going to come out. I mean, I bet you more is going to come out. I bet you there's so much stuff on his cell phone that is going to make people's heads spin.
I agree.
This is only the tip of the iceberg. And what kills me is how they couldn't find any of his text messages. Oh, they couldn't find any.
Yeah.
Just like they
guess who
couldn't
that
find
was? That
any
was,
of Jen McCabe's.
yeah, that
They
was.
couldn't find any of Jen McCabe's. But the FBI, they find them all, don't they?
They find 'em.
Thousands of them.
Right, because it was Guadino that was looking for him in the first place, and then sure enough, then the FBI goes, "Well, wait a minute, did you try this? Oh, look at that, 32,000 of them, amazing."
Yes, 32,000, and he did the same thing with Karen's trial.
Right,
The exact same darn thing. He
right,
couldn't find any of Jen McCabe's text messages.
yeah,
But the FBI found them, didn't they?
they sure did.
You know, I think this is going to, I'm starting to believe that. I don't even think Karen's going to go to trial with all this.
I mean,
I don't know how they're going to call them
it
I mean, they're all
it's crazy,
disgraced.
right? It's crazy because
It's crazy.
they've already they've stated their case. Like,
Exactly.
and now every single investigator that works for the Massachusetts State Police has been discredited, disgraced, and
Oh yeah, and
discredited.
you know what else is going to happen? All the different arrests and
Who are they
things
gonna
they made
who
in
are
the
they gonna
past.
call to the
The
stand?
Brady letters are going to be sending out. They're going to be contact them. They want a new trial because they're all just a disgrace and they can't be trusted.
No, they sure can't. They sure can't. I mean, that's the whole thing. Is Lally's gonna what? Who's he gonna call to the stand? He's gonna call the investigators that are under internal affairs investigation. Now, I have to assume that what he's going to try to do is he's going to file a motion with Judge Bev and try to say that he's going to have them testify, but the jury can't know that they're under internal affairs investigation. He's going to file a motion to do that, and Bev's going to grant it.
Oh, I can't. I mean, she was so biased against the defense.
Going to be even more biased with this case, with this trial. Why?
Oh,
this trial's happening, Linda. That's where I disagree with you. This trial's happening, and it's because Lally and Cannoni are absolutely hell bent on it happening. They're going to make it happen. They're doing.
Well, I we'll see. Maybe you're probably right. But
I wish you were.
I,
Right.
you know, I was just
I hope
hoping and hoping.
I hope you're right.
It just seems like a circus. Like who are they going to call? Who's he going to get this time to pay to come about? I mean, what's he going to do? Called Trooper Paul back? I mean, that was that. And then this time also, the defense, they will be able to get those biomechanics back, and they'll be able to go into detail where they were limited to what they could share the first time.
Right. Yeah. I mean, we know that the prosecution has no case here. You know, it's so crazy that they're moving forward with this. It's bizarre. This is going to be pondered over in law, in
you better believe it,
in law classes, in law courses, in law schools. This is going to be pondered over.
It sure will. It certainly will. And I think it's going to come into so many aspects of life. Not only it's our constitutional amendments and everything.
Oh yeah.
And I think that laws need to be changed, especially in Massachusetts, when it comes to something like this, because Karen was not guilty of one. They found her not guilty of 1 and 3,
Right.
and they should have been able to come forward privately and to give their verdict. And then, but no, they just want to go on. What they're trying to do is take Karen down. They're trying to drain her until she gives up. But I know she's not going to give up, because she's one fabulous lady, and
Yeah.
she will not give up.
And she knows also, you know, this is not to be overlooked. And thank you, Jody 617. This is not to be overlooked. Is Karen also, and I met her. I'm telling you, she and her family genuinely appreciate the support that that she gets. And she is going to, that gives her strength to fight on, you know.
Oh, I know. With
She
all the
already has
support
the
she
strength.
has,
She already has the strength, but the support that she's getting is really,
with
really,
everything that
yeah,
you
she's
do
really
and
great.
all the other main ones, all the support she gets, and then all the people that are supporting her all over now, all over the United States and beyond. I mean, we're feeding her even more strength, because we will not stop supporting her. And as time goes on, I think even after tomorrow and the following day, that she is even going to have more support.
Oh, it's
I
just going to
mean,
grow and grow the closer it gets
this
to
is,
trial, and then the second, and
oh,
then as
yes,
the trial
yes.
grows, her support's just going to grow. There's just,
And it's already large, but it's even
right.
because people from all over, I see all the people that comment, and from even Australia, here, there, Europe, this place, that place, they're all supporting her. They're watching it from the UK, from every
Agreed.
place.
Totally.
So it's just getting stronger and stronger and stronger.
It is.
And it's going to be a wonderful
And
thing
it's
when it's over,
because
because so many changes will be made.
it's because of you, Linda, and it's because of a lot of other people just like you who log on to these channels, and you show support.
Oh, I watch all of the main
Yeah,
ones.
that's-
You and Young Jerks and Melanie Little and
yeah,
LTL. I watch all of you.
I love it. I really appreciate
Yeah.
that, Linda. Thank
You're
you
my
so much.
favorite.
I'm your favorite. I think you're just saying
Yeah.
because you're on the phone with me, though. I feel like if you were talking to Mike Crawford right now, you'd be like, "Oh, you're my favorite, Young Jerk."
No, you're my favorite. I love your sense of humor. You give us some laughs too, because we
Good.
get stressed out listening to all this, and you put a lot of fun in it too,
Oh man, yeah.
to break up the monotony.
You guys just make me feel comfortable being myself, and I'm grateful to you guys for that. So thank you for that, for watching.
Well, thank you so much, and it was wonderful talking with you.
Awesome. Thank you. It
And-
was great talking to you too, Linda.
Okay. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. All right. I'm wrapping that up, folks. Hold on a second. All right. Some great callers, man. Always great to talk to Dina and Suzanne Cleveland and Linda was awesome. And not Dina. Not that Dina. She was awesome too. So thank you all you guys who called. Yeah, hopefully the next time I go live, I will now tomorrow I think I'm gonna I'm sorry, Mizzy. Oh my god. Let's schedule something, Mizzy. Because Clubber is like kind of, that's why I'm cutting it off before 3 hours, because Clubber is letting me know he needs to go out. Yeah, let's get in touch with each other and schedule something. Because I know, and I want to get Suzanne up here with you as well. Not just on the phone. So yeah, yeah, I know you get it. Yeah, so thank you guys, man, so much. Now tomorrow is the nationwide standout, man. That's wild. I'm gonna work out everything that I need to work out with Cherry. I don't know exactly what Paul had in mind for that. But Cherry's gonna explain it to me. And whatever it is, yeah, I'll be doing some coverage of it to some degree tomorrow. And just keep your eye out for a preset live coming up. But you guys are amazing, man. Thank you guys for hanging out with me tonight. I had a really great time. You guys are fantastic. And I want to thank MC Frost for being my new correspondent. I think he's doing a great job, guys. Again, another round of applause for MC Frost. Yeah, you guys are amazing. Thank you guys so much for hanging out. So yeah, I don't have a time yet for tomorrow, but I will be live tomorrow at some point. But yeah, you guys are fantastic. I love you guys very much. Thanks for hanging out with me, and we will do this again very soon, my friends.